Ah, whew. Old knees. Whew. I'm 57. That's over half a century. I've been around for so long. Oh, so long. I didn't think I would make it this long, to be honest. I remember when I was 17, 18 years old. Well, younger. Oh, man. I was a bit of a troublemaker when I was a kid. Oh, I started drinking when I was about 12. And man, oh man. Started hard too. Like I was, oh man, my friends and I were getting drunk a lot when we were young. Spent a lot of time outside, not like the last couple of generations, sitting inside playing video games or I don't know, social media, whatever we're doing, whatever, whatever we let our kids do that was not going outside. But anyways, like I said, I spent a lot of time outside, and I lived in a small town, kind of, 20,000 people. I consider it a city, but we always considered that we were in the Hicks. We're in the boonies, and 2 hours from Toronto, Canada, um, closest metropolis. Anyway, there's a couple of cities, Kitchener and London and stuff are closer. Mostly university towns and stuff along the way. And there's Kingston, prison town, and what else? There's, Sudbury, mining town. But anyway, Toronto's where the money is, I guess. I worked there for 15 years. I worked in Toronto, downtown, in the core. I was a painter and a paper hanger. A good one, too. Ask anybody. Really, anybody I worked with. I don't think anybody could, there's always nitpickers. Every trade has got their, there's a competitive spirit built into us where, we're driven to do better than others, but also we're driven to be better, like to do better than ourselves, and that becomes a problem when there's no mechanism to do that, like to better yourself. We get to a point, especially now, like too young, we tell kids that they're fine, they're perfect. Here's a participation trophy just for being you, right? And kids at one time, well, men at one time, women too. We had to go through a rite of passage. There was a biological puberty, I guess you want to call it, becoming biologically viable, mating age kind of thing, breeding age, I guess. We are just animals, and I guess one of the things that we talk about civilized is just taking the animal out of us, right? But the animal got us here. Like we are what we are because of what we were. you know, um, contrary to what some people might believe, we came from a long line of failures in evolution, in biology, but we made it. See, this is what people, we look at the primates, we look at everybody's looking for the missing link, but we are we're just a link. Like we're the link that we should be looking at. We shouldn't be looking for the missing link. There's lots of missing links. At one time, there was about 5 years. I just found this out recently. At one time in the planet's history, not human history, before human history, before humans, in the planet's history, Sorry, I just smoked some weed and I'm a little dry in the mouth. And we'll talk about that some more too. My weed habit. Told you I quit drinking a long time ago, but talk more about that too. Anyway, yeah, we need to get back to being animals a little bit so that we can become better humans. Because um, what is humanity? Like, what is it to be human, and to what is it to be civilized? What differentiates us from the animals? From you know, what's so different about this than I don't know, if you got a family, if you got a dog at home or a cat, like we were on four legs a lot longer than we've been on two. In fact, we're not even really on two. I mean, we are. We do it pretty good, but we fall down a lot. We're not great at being on two legs. And babies don't walk, on their own. They have to be taught or shown, right? If a baby didn't see another hominid walking around upright, it probably would never take it up. And if it wasn't taught how to do it properly, even if it was seeing other hominids walking upright, it would struggle to get upright. You've seen babies try to learn how to walk, and if you haven't, well, you're either, I don't know what's going on if you haven't, because that's like a part of being a human too, is like, throughout our life, we have to see all of the other ages that we can be, that humans are. My great grandmother went to a single room, like a one room school. It was a building. It was a log cabin, big enough to have maybe a dozen or a dozen and a half kids in there. It was a rural school, so the kids were all farm kids, so they had chores to do, and they had work to do at home. So school was kind of a privilege. It was sort of a extra. It was, as much as we think of extracurricular activities as being outside of school, these were, school was an extra normal activity outside of the chores around farming and picking up after yourself and taking care of yourself. And in those days, they didn't have a Roomba to do the vacuuming for you. You swept stuff up and picked up after yourself, and you didn't make a mess to begin with, because they didn't have all of the conveniences to clean up a mess, like washing machines and everything that we have today. So think about going without, but still having enough, right? But not having the things that we have today that we take for granted as being necessities. Nobody fucking needs a Keurig machine. Like, nobody needs like something that just makes coffee. Like, holy shit, for that matter. I've lived off grid for a while, off and on, and I've spent probably about 2 years total, like living with just solar and flames, right? Like, I had solar for a bit of power, so I could stay a little bit civilized, stay connected to family and stuff, have a computer and that in the camper. But I also had, I cooked over a flame, right? And it's important that we do that, because we're connected to the flame in more ways than you can imagine. We are who we are because of the fire, because that's how we are. We're the primates that won, right? We mastered fire. From recognizing it and its potential. After a forest fire, there's going to be hot spots, and we probably had to. There's probably times in our evolutionary past where a volcano was a big part of our existence, because, what's the cleanest water there is steam. It's distilled water, right? And so if you've got like a hot spring, which is going to be near a volcanic, activity, or some heat underground, some thermal generated heat is going to maybe purify the water in the area and give us enough warmth to survive the really cold times on the planet. Like, we're just coming out of an ice age now, and there's been others, and the evidence of the Younger Dryas and the floods after maybe a past ice age that, maybe the ice caps have already melted. And they're going to do it again and again and again and again. And it's not going to, us paying a carbon tax and feeling guilty about, using a propane or using a gas stove or whatever the hell they're trying to ban to exercise more control on us, make us more reliant and more dependent on the authorities and the infrastructure that the oligarchy has created. It's so people think they need a cell phone. Oh my God, I can't leave home without it. And you don't. You don't need it. What we need is basic things. We need air. We need to be able to breathe first and foremost. You don't survive very long without air. 3 minutes tops, I think, and you're pretty much unconscious. And probably, if you don't have any air for much longer than that, you're going to have brain damage and you're just going to die. You'll expire, extinguish. The flame will go out. So air is big, big man. But we got lots of it. The planet's surrounded by air. And, we do a pretty good job of not putting too much shit into it that's going to kill us. But we do, we try to mitigate it, and the planet is really good at taking care of itself, including the stuff that we do to it. Trees scrub carbon. I know we're so worried about the oceans, and I am too. We don't want things to get too acidic. Acid rain's a real thing. I have a certification as a water treatment specialist in British Columbia, Canada. I'm certified by the Environmental Operators Certification Program in BC as a water operator. So I know a little bit about water. And I worked at a resort where we collected rainwater, we used well water, and it was a very seasonal well. When it stopped raining, we'd stop getting well water. So, rooftop collection was a big part of our existence. And we still ended up having to purchase water and have it trucked over from the bigger island. We were on a smaller island. Anyway, I'm trying to get comfortable. I know I'm on my heels right now. I'm sitting on my heels and it's very comfortable, much more than squatting. But squatting is much more comfortable than sitting once you get around to it. That's what I want to get to, is getting around to it. Around and around and around. I don't know if you've seen any of my other videos. There's a few other ones on the channel where I do some hand stuff and some body stuff. And it's very recent. I've only been doing this for about 3 days. And I'm getting a little sore. So I've been doing this for only about 3 days or so. And the videos. And they're not rehearsed. I'm just doing them on the fly. And not rehearsed is not even kidding. I've never done any of some of the stuff that you'll see in these videos I've never done before. I'm not in a trance, but I'm letting my muscle memory that I guess millions of years of evolution have put into us. So our muscles are where they are, and they are purpose built. They do things, and they all do. Here's one of the things that I think that we forget, and like I said, we guilt ourselves to death about the things that we do to the planet. But in order for us to become hairless, well, mostly, and we lost our fur. We got way upright, even more than other primates that are still, most species of primates are knuckle walkers. They don't really walk upright. We're very special in that regard, and this is something else that makes us special, is being able to hug ourselves. We designed ourselves. We came along. Fire came along and helped us warm our bellies, so that we could lose the fur. But we helped. So the fire helped. Being able to cook food helped. Metabolic energy out of pre-cooked, metabolic energy saved by eating food that's already partly, broken down by heat, by cooking it. That's all we really do, is just, we squeeze the moisture out of the food and the nutrients out of the moisture, and then get rid of what we don't use, right? So nutrients go in, everything, a lot of stuff goes in, and we take the nutrients, we take what our body needs out of what we take in, and then what our body doesn't need has to go out, has to metabolically get processed out of us, right? So things that we don't need, a lot of fiber. That's a big lie. We don't need a lot of fiber. If you've never worked with, so my grandparents were a chef and a butcher. And I'll let you guys figure out which one was which, but my grandmother was a baker too. So anyway, my grandparents were a chef and a chef and a butcher. And so I've handled sausage casings, actual real sausage casings, not the artificial ones that come in a package, but sausage casings from the origins, which is the intestines of the animal. The intestines is what you put the meat into after you chop it up, and all the meat that you're not gonna make roasts out of or steaks or whatever. Anyway, getting back to us, the metabolic energy saved by eating cooked food, particularly cooked meat, allowed us to develop over time more brain matter, which made us smarter, which made us able to more efficiently get food into us and identify safe food and identify dangers, and the more we evolved, today we think of ourselves as devolved, like that we've gotten soft, that we lost our place at the top of the food chain. But fire gave us an advantage over physical dominance in Darwin's survival of the fittest sort of theory. It's not just survival of the fittest; it's survival of the most efficient, the energy conservators, the patient ones. Reptiles and they do the cold-blooded thing. They can wait for a long time for food because their metabolism slows down enough that if they get if they stay cool, they can survive. Salamanders can get into the mud and go dormant and stay for a long time. And again, we look at all these other creatures on the planet as, man, some of them are alien to us. Look at the mimic octopus. That thing is from outer space. We all are, I guess. We're in outer space. That's another thing everybody forgets. We talk about the universe as something separate from us. That we do this a lot. We separate things, which is cool because the distance between things is where everything happens. It's connection that makes things happen. If you're alone, nothing's happening. Anything's standing by itself. So nothing is by itself. Nothing is in silence. That's another thing we have to talk about. The fact that everything is made of sound. The Big Bang happened there is no before to the existence of time. Get it? Like, time didn't exist. Now it does. There's no. That's beautiful. That we exist we can keep time. There is time. The motion, the movement of everything is how we mark time. Time here, we talk the calendar, minutes go by. It's all based on the circles that the planets make. And not just, it's so big, but it's so simple that we're a planet with a moon that affects us, and we travel around the sun in concert with each other. So the connection between the moon and the earth informs the relationship between the earth and the sun and everything else. And then when you look at the earth, scale it down, magnify. That's another thing is people have a hard time scaling things. The observable universe is both directions. Like, we can't see into the quantum world, maybe Elon Musk can a little bit. He's working on it. They're working on the quantum computers and everything. And we have this image, I think, Hollywood at least lets us see some weird moving colors, and usually it's something blue with bubbles in it or something, that it's the quantum world or whatever. It's just static, right? And that's all it is static. It's just, except it's cohesive static. This moment is the noise created when the infinite past collides with the infinite future, right? We have look back, infinity, look ahead, infinity. We're right here. Everything happens. But it's not just between the past and the future, right? It's between up and down, left and right, in and out. It just spirals around, right? The whole universe is just, what if the Big Bang is still banging, right? It's just, right? Anyway, we're all made of sound. You are your mother's song. And your father's laughter. And both of their tears. We left the oceans. But we didn't leave them behind. We are bags, clumps of seawater, briny mucus held together by vibrations. Tesla knew it. Everything has a frequency, or it'll blow apart, fall down, whatever. Tried to make a bridge come down. People didn't want him living in their building because he had these devices. Anyway, he was right. We're a structure. Triangles make us able to hold ourselves up and hold each other up if we need to. If you stand, and you can support somebody on your shoulders. Through your skeleton without any strain on your muscles or your nervous system. No pain. You're a ladder. You can be a human ladder. And that was given to us as a gift of necessity. We had to reach higher into the trees to get fruit. So we got off 4 legs. We lost our tail and the jumping gene, and we got a sciatic nerve, and an inner ear, and some free-floating bones that defy biology, sort of, unless sound put them there, right? Babies aren't fully developed into adults, like they have to grow up into adults, and at some point, embryonic cellular division isn't what drives growth. It's movement. It's us being us. Activities make us build more material out of the material that we put in. We get calcium out of our food, and we get it out of meat. Animals that have already got the building blocks to be animals, we eat that, and our body goes, yay! We got bricks instead of sand and mortar. Sand and clay, right? So your body has to really work hard to get animal proteins and fat lipids and things that are going to, molecules that are going to actually do what a biological animal needs done to rebuild tissue damage, and to repair damage to from wound healing and things like that, to keep our vision and our teeth intact and stuff. I lost 5 teeth finding this out as a result of an autoimmune disorder. 10 years ago, I was symptomatic for MS. I had lost all the feeling in my left hand, including all the dexterity, and I was a skydiving instructor and a coach and stuff, and I had to quit. I had to stop doing it because I couldn't rely on this stupid thing to do its job, pulling a handle to save my life, right? Something I was teaching other people to do on a weekly basis or whatever. I couldn't do myself because this guy was pissing me. He was just not working, and the doctors weren't helping, right? I had a lump in my neck, and I had a stroke. I had, I lost all the feeling in my left hand. I was getting, Bell's palsy, losing the shape of my face, and teeth fell out. And anyway, no help from the medical profession, and certainly no help from, I thought when I broke down, the doctors would help me get fixed, and it did not happen. That's not what they're around for anymore. That might have been what doctors were intended to be around, and maybe in their heart some of them really want to do that. But the medical profession it's turned into just a business. Medicine is an industry now. We need to start using these to take care of ourselves. And I've got a bunch more videos where I'll explain a little bit more on how you can do that, how you can tap into millions of years of information that's stored in here, in our bodies, in our DNA, right? And this is why the last few years have been really scary for me. Because like I mentioned earlier, I studied pharmacology a bit. And I've also been studying autoimmune disorders. And look, I'll talk more in other videos about the vaccines and what I think of them and things. But somebody rebranded the common cold to sell people a drug that was never intended to work, all it was meant to do was inoculate people to mRNA technology, as it is critical to CRISPR technology being able to get into a host cell's DNA and change it, which is dangerous because we have millions of years of code in there that we do not want amateurs. I don't care how fucking old you are on this planet. You can be 120 years old and have studied all of it, but you're still not mature enough to fool around with millions of years of genetic evolution, trial and error, stuff that got us here. These fucking things can carry water. They can carry more water if we get the little guys out of the way, and we can share it. We can share the water with others, right? And we can also make enough openings to share fire. We were born out of the fire. The idea that smoking is somehow bad for us after millions of years in smoke-filled caves. You know, we lived in caves. We came out of the trees where it was safe and there was lots of food, when there wasn't any food and it wasn't safe anymore. And it wasn't safe and there wasn't any food in the caves. But if you got a fire going, right? And here's the thing. Tools. So at some point, we evolved enough brain power to make tools, to start using rocks to do things. So probably just a hammer, nuts open or whatever. I don't know what we were doing with rocks. Look at other primates today and how they handle rocks. But I have a feeling that, and this is all meant to wear off, right? This is meant to wear. And it takes toxins, it takes shit out of your body that isn't supposed to be there with it. All the skin that comes off, it's been coming off for millions of years, so get it off. But use these to get it off, because we are also the only species that has fingerprints, and that's for a reason. Every one of them is the terminating point of a lymph vessel on your body. So are the ridges on your fingernails. They're all terminating points of lymph vessels. Every hair follicle on your body has a nerve and a hair follicle and nutrients and everything else terminating there, right? The hair gets fed nutrients, it comes out, but it also gets fed some oils and stuff. Sebum comes out of your scalp with your hair, your follicle. And that sebum carries with it, and it's made out of fat lipids, right? Animal fat, not vegetable oil. Corn is not food. Oh my God, the biggest lie ever told to humans was that seeds were food. Seeds are made by nature to survive the mammalian digestive system and propagate the plants further out in the forest. We get the fleshy fruit. The tree gets new territory. It gets to spread its, trees don't get to move. They're stuck in the ground. So they drop fruit that animals will eat, knowing that the seeds are gonna survive. You've seen the toilet after a night of corn on the cob, right? So we know, right? But we fool ourselves, and well, we don't fool ourselves. Somebody fooled us. Kellogg, somebody else, Monsanto. People nowadays are being lied to about what is and isn't food. We're being lied to about what is and isn't a vaccine. We're being lied to about what is and isn't a fucking cold. Okay, so they rebranded the common cold so that they could sell us a bunch of shit to get us ready to sell us a bunch more shit, right? So the most valuable thing to them, and them is the billionaires making money off of money on Wall Street, money that doesn't exist, right? They're building their lifestyles off of the backs of the working class by giving away tokens for food and lodging in the form of currency, right? You're just still slaves to the fucking ruling class. So, get out from under. Don't let them ban your gas stoves. Don't let them take away your ability to collect rainwater in your municipality. Um, it's all meant to make you dependent on their infrastructure. Them, right? The ruling class, the ones that profit off of your necessary consumerism, right? We consume, right? But we don't need to fucking consume plastic junk that is transported around the world at cost and at ecological cost and economic cost. We do this dance of, you know, bringing stuff here from somewhere else that we could make here, but labor's too expensive. And then where does the money come from? What is it based on? There's no gold in it, you know, like, and so what if there is gold? You can't eat gold, right? You can't eat oil. So the real value is in who owns the land, the food, right? The water. Don't let them touch the Great Lakes. Don't let them touch your fresh water supplies. The water recycles, goes in the clouds, it evaporates out of it. But like I said, we're not very good at taking care of things sometimes nowadays. We used to be. Like I said, we could conserve and we could carry water, and you know we had to conserve it. You know, we are able to balance ourselves so that we can kick a tree in the morning when the leaves are full of dew, and we can kick that tree while we're holding our hair out, fully extended in our arms. Hair follicles produce hair for 6 years before they go catagenic and fall out. So that 6 year actually it's 7 years, roughly. We talk about it in a Gregorian calendar, sort of a cycle, but anyways, it's more like closer to 7 years. Hair falls out. It's about the same length as however tall you are. That's how your hair grows, about a foot a year. A millimeter a day, or 30 millimeters a month, which is about an inch a month, which is 12 inches a year. Ta-da, a foot a year. So 6 feet, 6 years, you'll have hair down to here, but you can hold it out to here and boot a tree. And the leaves will shake and all the water will come into your hair, and then you can gather it all up, shove it in your yacht, and we can hold water in our mouth and breathe through our nose. Wild, huh? Animals can't do that, right? They drool. The fact that we can breathe through our nose allows us to live forever. And I'll teach you how in some other videos. But like I said, I'm 57 years old. I was born in 1967, the summer of love, age of Aquarius. And I have never felt better, more healthy or fit. 10 years ago, I was symptomatic for MS. Couldn't feel my hand. I was losing my eyesight. I was ringing in my ears. Tinnitus like a motherfucker. Sciatica. The most pain you've never felt. Because if you have, you'd know, and you'd be saying the same thing. So if you've never felt sciatica, well, you've never felt sciatica. But when you have, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's just, I can't describe it. It's ineffable. So there's that. Yeah, so I was a mess. Oh, and my guts, I had 3 hernias sticking out of me. Big one down there near the pelvis, about the size of a ripe olive, and then I had 2 up here, They were between the size of a lentil and a snow pea sticking out of my belly. And I was peeing out kidney stones on a regular. Um, and like I said, teeth falling out. We're working on that. We can regrow our teeth and the enamel um, by breathing and using our tongue like it's meant to be. And again, using these guys. Every finger on our hand came from a tooth in our mouth. Same with the toenails, right? All of the enamel was all one clump in our mother's womb at one time, and we unfolded like origami. And I'll show you how we did that too in another video. So I'm gonna stop for now because I'm hungry. I got some bacon and eggs I'm gonna eat. So I'm gonna show you more about how to conquer baldness and hair loss and regrow lost hair, get rid of wrinkles and age spots, and maybe reverse aging and some other things. But you're gonna have to subscribe to the channel, like my videos, please like them, and comment. Please feel free to comment. I need some connection with you folks out there in viewerland so that I can build the channel and get more of this out there. These guys have a lot to say, and so does this, because if this stuff doesn't get out of here, whew, who knows what's going to happen. The only difference between me and the Unabomber was the Canadian government taught me how to build a bomb. So maybe I shouldn't have said that, but it's the truth. So peace, health, love, love, love one another, love your family. It's so important to have a connection between 3 generations. We need grandparents and grandkids to spend as much time together as possible. We have to stop sending our kids to daycares and our grandparents to long-term care facilities. Give the old people a place to live and let them help you take care of your kids while you go to work if you still need to slave for the man, right? But if you don't, stay home. Homeschool, look after your kids, do a community homeschool, get them out of the public school system, because one thing I know for sure is cultivated ignorance is the chain that binds society, masses, binds us, the people, to the ruling class, right? Cultivated ignorance. And it starts in public school, and when they get their hands on them in daycare, it's even worse. And it goes into television, right? The stuff that they're propagandized by Disney and everybody else to sell them junk, to sell them plastic toys that look like they're heroes who aren't real. They're actors. So please, please stay tuned. I've got a lot more content coming. I'm just learning how to talk again. My tongue's been gone for a while. I was swallowing my tongue. Anyways, I had broken teeth lodged in my throat just a year ago. And, Shiva helped me get that out. Fatima, Shiva, Horus, whoever. Anyway, peace and out.